Sorry about that, guys. I don't know what the heck. Streamlabs had an update, and it just took forever. So, anyways, we're here. We're here now, and I just want to get right into that Oilers game last night. I'm glad the Oilers won in a sense, but they had no business winning that game. My God, they were out. Jari was his old self last night. He didn't play well at all, and Edmonton wins. So Vegas losing to Anaheim as well. Lehner didn't play well. I gotta mark that down. What was last night? It was it was Wednesday night. Watch out for goaltenders on Wednesday night. Lehner played poorly. Jari played poorly, and he'd been playing really well up until that point. That was a game that Pittsburgh had to win. Edmonton didn't. Edmonton, I think, what were they outshot? They were outshot badly. And their defense couldn't, and their young defense couldn't get the puck out of the zone. But what was the shots on that game? 34-22. Yeah, and that actually made it look a lot better than it was. I think the Penguins owned the possession time there, but Zach Hyman, I mean, there were some goals that Jari couldn't do anything about. Zach Hyman did toss some pretty killer top corner shots there, but overall, Jari needed to be better last night. Connor McDavid got his 15th, with Puya Harvey getting an assist on that. He played fantastic last night, no doubt about it, but you expect that from McDavid. But overall, it was just the case that Jari did not play well. I hope that's not Michael Hutchinson's called up. Okay. So they sent Wall down. Wasn't Mrazek supposed to be up? Wonder what, how's he been doing there? And how's he been doing in the minors? Probably his normal self. I mean, Hutchinson can grab lightning in a bottle and have a good game every once in a while, but he's not a guy you want to be using too often, that's for sure. Toronto. Hutchinson. Emergency loan. Okay. And, he's been getting lit up in the minors. 3.60 and a .894 4 in 6 games. Ouch. That is an emergency if you got to pull him up. Hey, is that Range? Range, or are you Raj? Is that Range? I haven't talked to you in a long time, buddy. Haven't been doing the picks for. Thanks for coming in. Hutchinson, yeah. Okay, Ethan Bear. That's going to be an interesting game. Oh, Raj. Okay, right, Raj. Different guy then. No, thanks for coming in, buddy. Woo! It's been a while. Raj. Okay, how you doing, Raj? Your Dallas is looking a lot better. Definitely playing with a lot more intensity. I love the fact that they're playing Ottinger tonight. That Columbus, after that rout, though, I'm a little, I don't know. They're bringing up a kid, a young goaltender, to play tonight. Columbus is, and I get sketchy when that happens because in junior, in Europe, it's Daniel Tarasov. He had incredible numbers. I'm going to take another look at that. But in the minors, he did not have good numbers. Now, that could be because Columbus's farm system is pretty depleted and they don't have a very good team. But the thing I find interesting is the timing of it. what's his name? Merzlikins got lit up last game. Korpisalo hasn't been that great. And now they're bringing up this young guy where can I find him here? Do they still have him in the minors? Let me look up the depth chart here. Yeah, Daniel Tarasov. He's 22 years old. In the KHL, he played 16 games in the KHL and had a 2.06 and a .925. Is that all the time he's played in the KHL? He played in the Liga, not great numbers. It looks like he did really well for 16 games in the KHL. And then he goes with the Monsters and he only has a 2.96 and a .897. But it looks like Larson is sending a message to their team to play. They got to start playing better defense. So I'm going to bring this kid up. And if you can't play defense for them, then I guess I'm not going to be able to get you to do it. So watch. I think Columbus will be playing some pretty stingy D tonight. Yeah, stars are flying pretty good. Yeah, Toronto. We were talking about it yesterday, man. That team is playing with an energy that is just beautiful. It's fun to watch. Like I can't help but root for them the way they're playing as a team. And Colorado has not played well in front of Johansson ever, really. So tonight, are they going to go back to Johansson? Because Kemper was hurt just before too, right? So they had to throw Johansson in there last night. I bet you they're not going to tell you. Cal Peterson against Calgary, it looks like. Swayman's going in for the Bruins. Oh, boy. Ranta will be in for Carolina. Forsberg is confirmed for Ottawa. Carolina's got to have that game. I know their defense is banged up, but they got to be able to win that game. And right now it says it's projected that Johansson will be in net tonight. But regardless, even if it's on a back-to-back, Colorado's got to have that game against Montreal. I mean, I don't like to take teams on a back-to-back, but Montreal is not going to have Gallagher. Gallagher's on COVID. I don't know if you guys know that. Gallagher's being put on COVID watch or whatever the heck it is. So he won't be playing tonight. They got to be angry after that loss in Toronto. Big step for them. Back to back. Got to have heart. Got to have heart. Got to be able to play confident in front of your goaltender, regardless who it is. Last night, they were back on their heels a lot. It looked like they were... It didn't look like they were very comfortable with Johansson in that. And Johansson let some softies in. He is underrated, absolutely. I didn't understand why they went and got Holtby. I guess they're just being really careful with him because I don't think, he was their best goaltender last year. So I didn't understand why they put him in the minors. But with Audie and net, Dallas is a good team. Michael Hutchinson is playing on Saturday, and Toronto will probably win. Who are they playing on Saturday? Forsberg is in net. Yeah. You got to win that game. I mean, there's no excuse for Carolina, yeah. Carolina's got to win that game. Forsberg's not a good goaltender. I don't understand why you go get Holtby, though. I guess it's just because long-term they know Hudobin isn't the answer. And, Bishop probably, his career might even be over. Why are you saying that, Lauren? Why? Did they have a hard time against Forsberg before or something? Minnesota Wild, yeah, against New Jersey tonight, and they're putting Kakinen in. I don't know what that's all about. Like, I know New Jersey isn't a very strong team so far this year, and I thought they'd be a lot better than they are, but, Kakinen just played. What do they need to put him in again for? I haven't heard anything about Talbot. And, Talbot's not the best goaltender, but Kakinen hasn't looked sharp this year so far, on a consistent basis anyways. They're playing the Wild is what you're saying. They're playing the Wild. I can't go against Toronto against anybody anyhow right now. Seriously, I just can't. I probably will fade that game. If Hutchinson is in net, the Wild can do a lot of damage to him. But that team is playing with an energy and a confidence that is through the roof right now, Toronto. Ottawa's going to play lights out. Oh, that's right. Forsberg was at Carolina. Yeah, I don't like that either. When did that happen last? It was Vancouver against Boston, I think, when Halak was in. Drigger played against Florida, and Seattle won that game. Hey, Danny Pearlo in the house. Thanks for coming in, Danny. Woo! One of the finest in the land for sure. He is 3-0. Oh, Kakinen? Okay. Maybe I got it wrong. I mean, as long as he plays a strong game that against New Jersey, Minnesota's got to have that game. New Jersey isn't playing with a lot of confidence right now defensively. So they play similar styles, and Minnesota's way better at what New Jersey is trying to be. New Jersey's kind of trying to be what Minnesota is, and they're not there yet. And Minnesota is what Minnesota is. So Minnesota should be able to outpossess them. I could see it being a higher scoring game, I guess. Saturday against Toronto. And I don't know, you just came in, Denny, but apparently they're going to be playing Hutchinson. Toronto's going to be playing Hutchinson on that night. So I guess what they're doing is they're giving Talbot a break. And, they're making sure he's right and ready for Toronto against Hutchinson. It's going to be one heck of a game. Toronto's playing with confidence that's through the roof right now. Minnesota's playing extremely well, too. That's going to be a barn burner, I think. Oh, Wall is out with injury. Okay. Yeah, it's going to be a tough game for Minnesota. It's in Minnesota, so that's a huge advantage. But, man, that Toronto team doesn't seem to matter what they're up against. Toronto, it doesn't seem to matter what Toronto's up against right now. They look like there is nothing that's going to stop them. So huge game to watch. 'Cause Minnesota is, I can't say Minnesota's quite at that level yet as far as confidence is concerned, but they're playing extremely well. And they're playing with a lot of confidence too. It's just the Leafs are on another planet right now with confidence. Toronto playing on a back-to-back against Winnipeg. So they're going to save Campbell for that. That makes sense. That is a team that has everybody playing for the right reasons right there. You got you're playing your backup with your fresh team and your number one with your tired team. If you notice, it's usually the other way around. It's usually the number one goaltender that plays with the fresh team, and then they play the backup, which I never understood. I can only imagine that it's simply to pad your number one stats, like ego issue or whatever. No, I haven't seen the Superb Ad movie. Thanks for coming in, Doug, by the way. Winnipeg is on the downfall. That last loss was bad. They had the huge win against Calgary, and I thought they would keep it rolling against Arizona. However, they did outplay them, but they played really tight on their sticks. And that's a sign of a team that is questioning themselves for sure. They're playing against, they were playing that game like, oh my gosh, we can't lose this, instead of we're going to crush this. So confidence issues in Winnipeg, I would say. On paper, they are deeper. On paper, they have, I guess, a better defense, yeah. But Toronto's playing better than their lineup. Toronto's playing way better than their lineup right now. Nothing seems to, like, everybody's moving in the same direction there in Toronto. The team is greater than the actual on-paper lineup for sure. Sabres got Malcolm Subban. Oh boy. Let me refresh here. I didn't hear about that. Binnington placed on COVID protocol. Oh, I've not seen that. Oh, yes, the Buffalo Sabres acquire Malcolm Subban. That's right. The Buffalo Sabres have struggled to find consistent goaltending and appear to be throwing another name in the ring. They acquired Malcolm Subban from the Chicago Blackhawks in exchange for futures. It's not a guaranteed upgrade. No. Like, how has he been doing in the minors, Malcolm Subban? That's really just throwing something at the wall and hoping it comes out good for you. Because let's see if they've even updated that on Cap Friendly now. But Aaron Dell has been so bad. I mean, just about any goaltender probably would be better than Dell right now. So Dell has been, you cannot rely on. Tokarski's had his moments, but Dell hasn't had a moment at all. They have not updated that on Cap Friendly unless they have him in the minors. Oh, they do have him in the minors. Okay, what's he got? Oh, he doesn't even have good numbers in the minors. 3.38 and a .893 in Rockford. So maybe, okay, there could be something even more interesting to that. It's possible that they're going to bring up Luukkonen now and give him a shot. They're not waiting any longer. Oh, he hasn't put up good numbers there either. Oh, boy. Wow. Yeah, he in Chicago, he was looking like he might not be too bad for a bit, but then he just went right back to his old self again. I think it's purely confidence issues with him. It's esteem issues. I just don't think he believes in himself. I think everybody knows that too, because I mean, I've read some things on him where they say that he's got all the tools, but mentally he's just not there. I remember super bad, but I don't remember. Oh, okay. Interesting. Yeah, Colorado's pretty. Who beat Colorado with their B goalie? Winnipeg, yes, that's true, Denny. They do have a slow defense. Dylan and Stanley are pretty slow. They got a couple guys that aren't bad. It's a weird defense, let's put it that way, and it's not doing the job. It's not getting the job done. That defense is not getting the job done. Also, the scores, I don't know, and that probably has something to do with it. The transition game from defense to offense is creating problems because you shouldn't have problems scoring with Kyle Connor and Ehlers and all the guys they have on forward there. You shouldn't be only getting one goal in a game. Yeah. He's just totally lost confidence, sort of like Murray. But the difference between Subban and Murray is Subban's very humble about it. Murray thinks that he's okay. I'd rather have Subban, actually. We just talked about that. Yeah, the backup for the Blue Jackets tonight, Daniil Tarasov, he had like 16 games where he played exceptional in the KHL. But besides that, he hasn't really put up huge numbers, certainly not with the Cleveland Monsters. But neither has any other goaltenders in Cleveland. So it could be just a really bad team. You know how it is. You get these new guys that come up. They have no pressure on them. Nobody expects them to do well. So they just go in there with their eyes wide open and, they could go off. Not to mention, Kekalainen is one of the best scouting general managers ever. So I'm a little apprehensive about that, but I still can't go. I got to go with Dallas with Ottinger and net, and then you have this young kid like that. Who started tonight? Yeah, they had Wall, didn't they? Did they play with Wall? Yeah. Toronto just keeps winning. It doesn't really matter what you throw at them, what goaltender they're playing with. That team is really, I think that team's going to be really special this year. And I said it here many times before, I certainly didn't predict that happening. Games last night, we already talked about Pittsburgh. Edmonton really had no business winning that game last night. But Rangers, Flyers, oh my gosh. What is going to happen? What's going to happen now in Philadelphia? I don't know. That team looks absolutely abysmal. Abysmal. Same as last year. Same issues. The moves they made, Ellis isn't in the lineup, but one guy isn't going to change that. One move is not going to change Philadelphia's issues right now. I am at a total loss at what to do in Philadelphia. At this point, we've been talking about it for a long time. If this keeps up to the deadline, if they keep on playing anywhere like this at all, you really got to be looking at trading away Giroux. I don't know. I seriously don't know. They're such a tweener team. Like right now, I do think Minnesota has the same talent in Philly. You take Dean Evison and you take Dean Evison and put him in Philly and take AV and put it in Minnesota, and Philly has got a better record than Minnesota right now. I seriously think that's Dean Evison is an absolute genius. If you watch him behind the bench, he's like an orchestra. He's incredible. Except for Kaprizov. But besides that, you still got a lot of talent in Philadelphia. A ton of talent on that team. There's no reason why, and a better goal, they got a better goaltender. Defense, Minnesota's got them. Offense, though, their top nine lines, talent-wise, are underperforming unbelievably. This is not AV's got to be gone. That lineup is way better than that. Way better than that. And if you took Dean Evison and put him in Philadelphia, that team would be, way better than they are right now. I'm not even saying that AV's a bad coach. Just Dean Evison is that good of a coach. You look at, okay, let's go look at Minnesota's lineup. Let's look what first of all, one of the main players that Minnesota was a Philadelphia Flyer and did nothing. Let's see, Minnesota Wild. He was a Philadelphia Flyer. Ryan Hartman was a Philadelphia Flyer. Jordan Greenway, Eriksson, Ek, and Foligno. Okay, now I'm going to bring up Philly's line here. I'll bring up Philly, and I'll bring up Minnesota, and we'll look at their lineup and we'll compare. Joel Farabee is a fantastic young left winger that's doing nothing he's not progressing like he should. Sean Couturier is a Selke winning point per game centerman. Okay. You can try to compare him to Ek. I'll take Couturier over Ek any day. James Van Riemsdyk was a 50-point player last year, 60-point player. Claude Giroux is one of the most underrated players in the league. Cam Atkinson's a 35-goal scorer. Travis Konechny is hugely underperforming for his talent right now. The lineups are comparable. Ivan Provorov, where would be a problem is defense. Minnesota's got him on defense. Travis Sanheim is a way better defenseman than he's shown in Philadelphia so far. Rasmus Ristolainen, he was a work in progress. I didn't like that move. Justin Braun's a solid top four. They have him on defense, but I'll take Carter Hart over Talbot all day long. So that makes up for it a little bit. But their forwards are comparable to Minnesota's. They're just super underperforming. Hartman was a Philadelphia Flyer. What did he do in Philadelphia? Nothing. Goes to Minnesota, all of a sudden he's, an MVP type for the team type player. That's coaching, man. That is coaching. That guy is getting a crap load out of his lineup. Dean Evison is getting look at what Minnesota was before Evison got there. Look at what he was before Everson got there. They were basically Philadelphia. Dean Evison gets there, and now they're one of the best teams. Now you can add in Kaprizov there. That would be is that totally the difference that you have Kaprizov now? I don't think so. I don't think their lineup was all that bad. But everybody plays fantastic under Dean Evison. Everybody. Even Kulikov. Kulikov has really been a bit player everywhere he's gone. And I watch him in Minnesota, I'm like, who the heck is this guy now? All of a sudden, he's in Winnipeg, who didn't even have a very good defense. Kulikov was in and out of the lineup a lot. Goes to Edmonton, same thing. Goes to Minnesota, the guy's a solid 5'6" all of a sudden. See, Like I said, the guy has got. I don't think Minnesota's lineup as it is a lineup that should be doing as well as they are. But I do think that Dean Evason gets the best out of everybody they play with. Do you agree with me, Denny, that if Dean Evason was in Philadelphia, Philadelphia would be a way better team than they are right now? Trade Dean Evason for Boudreau or Yo. Boudreau or Yo. And is Minnesota as good as they are right now? I don't think so. CL, how you doing, buddy? We're talking about whether CL comes in at the perfect time. We're comparing Philadelphia and Minnesota as a lineup. Would you agree with me, CL, that the Philadelphia Flyers, by man-on-man, are underperforming at a ridiculous level for what they have on their lineup? There's another good example. Fiala was in Nashville, struggled, had a difficult time, comes over to Minnesota, all of a sudden, look at Fiala now. Fiala's a really good example. He was in Nashville, they couldn't get anything out of him hardly. Half a point a game player, perimeter. Goes to Minnesota, all of a sudden, boom, he's just. And people can say, well, it takes some players take their time. You can only have these things happen so many times before you have to admit that coaching is the reason. You can't every player Dean Evason touches turns great. The only player that seems that Dean Evason can't get the most out of is Greenway. Greenway looks terrible out there. I don't like their answers either, CL. They basically are just saying, well, it's just they're giving excuses over and over and over again. You want to see an organization, we're talking about Minnesota, if they're going through a down spell, you don't hear them giving excuses for their problems. They just say we will be better. But yeah, well, you had Chuck Fletcher, but I mean, like I said, Dean Evason was Dean Evason there? No, Dean Evason was not hired by Chuck Fletcher, right? Well, I would say for good question. That's an awesome question, Kyle. I would say that best place DeBrusk could go would be Minnesota. You watch we would get to see what Evason would do with a guy like DeBrusk. And Cassidy is, one coach of the year. He's lauded for being one of the best coaches in the league. I would take Evason over Cassidy all day, and I think he's a great coach. I just think Dean Evason is unbelievable, an unbelievable coach. He's up there with Barry Trotz, Tortorella, like the elite. He's up there with the elite right now, I think. He had 3 points, but he doesn't look like, maybe he's turning it around now, but this season he hasn't been doing very well. He hasn't really done as well as they expected him to. He's a big guy. There's a lot to get used to, being his size and stuff like that. Obviously, Evason thinks he's going to be fine because they keep on playing him all the time. They keep on just building him up. But you have to admit, we haven't seen. I think most people would have thought Greenway would be in a better spot by now. I did. I love the guy. 2 years ago, the way Greenway was progressing, I thought he was going to be one of the better power forwards in the league. At this right now, I can't say that, but that's one guy. Every other person on that roster pretty much is getting a huge benefit of being there with with Everson. Look, you got Victor Rask on your third line. Victor Rask is your third line center. Victor Rask couldn't make it in Carolina. He got injured really bad, and he's not that great of a third line center. But they work with him, and it works. I don't know, like it works. Yeah, I would take Briere as a PP guy. They got to do something there because Philly just. What else do they got? Nick Bjugstad, barely in the lineup in Pittsburgh. Florida, they both threw him aside. He's not playing fantastic, but he's playing good fourth-line minutes. You know, there's so many guys on this lineup that were basically retreads. Look at their lineup right now on defense. John Merrill is their is a second pairing defense with Goligoski. Goligoski's great. Love Goligoski. Don't get me. But John Merrill is playing the best hockey of his career. No doubt about it. Like second to none. No doubt about it. He was in Vegas, barely made the lineup. Went to Montreal. They complained about him to no end. Jordy Ben's a journeyman. I don't know. I haven't really been able to see him because he's just filling in for some injuries right now. But and I already talked about Kulikov. That defense is not fantastic. Dumba's not the best on defensive defenseman. Brodin is by far their best defenseman. I'm sorry. I think that if AV had this lineup, they probably wouldn't make the playoffs this year. Yeah, it's just Bjugstad was supposed to be better than that, but he wasn't even a good fourth liner in Pittsburgh or Florida, but he's found his niche in Minnesota. Like everybody seems to find their niche as soon as they go and play under Everson. So the creativity and confidence that Minnesota has in the offensive zone, I've gloated about it several times here, to me is the best in the league. It is unbelievable what they do in the offensive zone. Their puck possession game in the offensive zone, maybe Colorado, like top 3 or 4. Toronto right now. That's why it's going to be so fun to watch that Minnesota-Toronto game, because you got two teams that are playing a offensive puck possession game that is elite. It's going to be amazing. They reunited Greenway, Eriksson, and Foligno, and I'll bet you Greenway ends up being as good as we always thought he would. I wouldn't doubt it at all. That lineup should be fantastic. It should be a great shutdown line. Greenway has the mind to be a good defensive winger, a good two-way power forward. That lineup should be one of the best shutdown lineups in the league. The only thing that's stopping it is Greenway not really reaching that yet. But if he reaches it, maybe the best shutdown line in the league. Right up there. Foligno is one of the best defensive wingers in the game, extremely underrated. And that has nothing to do with Everson. Foligno has been like that from the moment he walked in Minnesota. He's always been that great. So, Leafs call up Dahlstrom? Wow. Why did they have to do that for? I never even took a look who scored last night for Toronto, because I didn't watch it once it was a blowout. I generally don't watch the games. Matthews, Bunting got a couple. Dermott even scored last night. Wow. Nylander's getting points like crazy. Like everything is running swimmingly for that line. Even Engvall scored. They're getting scoring from everybody. But Johansson didn't play well. So, but really, the Maple Leafs outplayed them anyways, pretty much the whole game. No, maybe he's injured this year too. Maybe he's nursing something. That's possible, I guess. There wasn't really much to talk about that game. I feel sorry for Johansson. That's getting lit up like that is no fun. The Golden Knights, Leonard had a crapper game last night. I can't say the Golden Knights outplayed the Ducks though. The Ducks were back with that confident game that they've been known for this year. But Golden Knights had the Ducks on a back-to-back with Stolarz in net. You know, that's a game you kind of got to have. And really, they didn't play well defensively, but didn't play that well defensively. Not as good as we're used to seeing the Golden Knights play. But Lehner really let a few softies in and pretty much let the team down. The good thing about that Vegas is they never give up. They never give up. That's the one thing about that team. They just kept on banging away. We'll see. We'll see if Greenway can keep that up. But yeah, Major League Baseball lockout. I mean, something had to go there. It was getting salaries are going through the roof. I mean, I don't know, something was going to had to bend there eventually, probably. I don't know enough about baseball to say anything about it. Whether the owners are, I don't know. I don't know. No, Johansson's not an NHL caliber goaltender. He's got the size, but his overall game, he's slow. He doesn't get side to side fast enough. He's not very confident in himself, it seems, either. Not a good combination. Some goaltenders can get away with just being so confident that it doesn't matter. Johansson doesn't have that at all, no. Probably. I don't know if that's going to be one heck of a job to smoke Toronto, but I wouldn't put it past them the way they play. But you're probably not going to get me to say that, Minnesota man for man is more than, a just above average team. Dean Evason's getting everything out of that team. It's sort of like the New York Islanders with Trotz. Man, if you took out Trotz from the New York Islanders and had a whole season and take an average coach, they're not making the playoffs. That team is not making the playoffs. Sometimes a coach can be everything for a team. It can be a lot for almost everything for a team. If you take AV, who I think is an average coach, at best, and put him in New York for the last 3 years, and I bet you they don't even make the playoffs. Yeah, they play with confidence, heart. They don't give up. All of those things come from something. That's really a really good point, actually. That's a really good point. Was Minnesota like that before Evason showed up? No. They weren't known for comeback victories and all of those sort of things like that before Evason showed up. Everson shows up and all of a sudden they are. And that's like a really big sign that you got an incredible coach. Look at the New York Islanders, comeback victories all day long in the playoffs. Usually they get ahead and stay there. They're more like that because they don't really have the guns to outscore the opposition. But for sure, it's usually a really good sign of a team that doesn't give up, that has so much confidence in themselves that when they're down, they don't fall. They just keep going. I don't know. When I played, I had good coaches and bad coaches, no doubt. And better coaches. Let's put it that way. Or I had better coaches and not so good coaches. And I played on teams where you looked at our talent and we should have just crushed everybody. But a coach can destroy the energy in a team, say the wrong things at the wrong time, not be able to get people up when they're down, all of that sort of thing like that. I think Everson is every bit as good as Trotz. I think Everson is every bit of a coach as Trotz is. And I think Minnesota's team is only going to get better with Guerin. I think Guerin has done a fantastic job with that team. So in that way, are they better on paper than they were before? Yeah. He brought Kaprizov in. That was a big thing right off the get-go. Are they a better team? Yeah. But do I think that on paper they're an upper echelon team? No, I don't. Do I think they're as good as Tampa Bay on paper? No. Do I think they can beat Tampa Bay? Yes. Absolutely. Yeah, like a great coach can build a team identity and all of those sort of things like that, and can make people believe there was a great coach, I can't remember who it was. I think it was Herb Brooks, who said a coach's job is to make players believe they are better than they are. If you can make players believe that they're better than they are, that's a great coach. And Herb Brooks was a great coach. Yeah, you didn't have Kaprizov. That's the only thing. That's the only thing, is Kaprizov is the reason that they are now one of the upper echelon teams in the league. I don't think so. I think you take Kaprizov off. I think if Kaprizov got hurt tomorrow, that team wouldn't lose all that much. I think they'd still win games. I think you have a much better chance with Kaprizov in there, of course, but they'd find a way to win games. Al Arbor, yeah, I would put him up in that. And you can say anybody. Wow, we talked a lot about Dean Evison right now. Did a whole Minnesota thing for you, Danny Barlow. Okay, and you notice the viewership goes down because it's like, oh, is that all we're going to talk about is Minnesota today? And talking about great coaches, Dallas Eakins is making a case for being a very, very, very good coach. And Trevor Zegras is amazing to watch. Do you know that Trevor Zegras only played 13 minutes of ice time last night? That's amazing. When he was on the ice, he often looked like the best player on the team. But he only played 13 minutes. I find that interesting. And yet Steele plays 13 minutes. They play the same. It's almost like he was challenging Steele to take Zegras' minutes because he's trying to build up Steele's confidence to be a better player. Steele's been playing wing most of the year. He had an opportunity to play center, and he played him. He played him a lot. 13 minutes is a lot. When you're taking minutes from Zegras, wow. That team is playing with a heck of a lot of confidence. And there's a good example of a team that on paper really, probably shouldn't be doing what they're doing. But they're doing it. Yeah, I think they can beat anybody. I think Minnesota can beat anybody. And they can beat anybody that has a better roster than them. They can have more skill, more MVPs, more everything, but Minnesota's team game will beat them. I'd have to go back to the old Minnesota lineups, but they didn't have bad lineups back then. They had some very solid D lineups, some of the best defense in the league at one time. One of the best defenses in the league at one time. But I'd have to take a look at it. It was considered one of the best defenses in the league. Kraken versus Red Wings, and I made a mistake with this. I took the Kraken, but I made a big mistake. After I thought about it, it was like the Red Wings just beat the Boston Bruins, and yeah, they were on a back-to-back, and yeah, they were badly outplayed, but you can still find the confidence to go, now we can beat the Kraken, and they played with that kind of confidence last night, even though they were completely outplayed by Boston. And the Kraken didn't have Eberle. That changes everything for them. In overtime, they're probably not going to be able to beat the Red Wings too often. They're too fast. So it was a bad pick by me. Again, Grubauer wasn't let a softie in, wasn't all that great. I got to pull you guys up here. I got to pull you guys up here. So I can see the chat. Canucks versus Senators. The Senators, the goaltending. Gustafsson is still too young. They need a veteran goaltender in there. But you got to love the way the Canucks are pushing back and playing right now. From what I watched of that game, and it's been on the road here, just in general, the Canucks have been playing better and better. I had the Canucks winning that game last night, but it's simply because of goaltending, and Ottawa's defense is not very good. They're a good pushback team. They got lots of heart, all of that kind of stuff like that. But with the COVID, without having a second line center, which they don't, they're using guys like I think they put Stützle in the middle last night, who just seems to be lacking confidence right now himself. I thought with Drake Batherson being back that they might have a better chance, but you got Nick Paul playing second line center, and Lassie Thompson doesn't really look the greatest out there. Mete is pretty meh. It's Zaitsev playing in your top four. Things are not going good. Holden played 19 minutes. Like, this lineup is sparse right now. And, of course, they've got a lot of problems. They've got who were their scratches last night? Del Zotto was a scratch. I don't know why that was. And Tyler Ennis. They have people out on COVID. It's been a forgettable year for Ottawa. But good on Vancouver, building confidence, playing for their coach, because I would have to imagine the Green is pretty much on the hot seat right now. I don't think he's the problem. I think he's a good coach. I think their defense is pretty much the problem, but they're playing with a lot more heart now than they ever did before. We talked about the Rangers. Philadelphia Flyers, I don't have the answer for what they can do there. I don't have an answer for it. Maybe you guys have an answer. I don't know. You haven't had a superstar yet. I don't know what to do with Philadelphia. I think you just got to fire the coach. And I don't know who to put as a coach, honestly. You got to find somebody like Dean Evison or close to that, like an upper echelon elite coach. Maybe it's time for give Tortorella a shot in Philadelphia. See what Tortorella can do with that team. Turn it into a defensive juggernaut. It's got a team that's set up for Tortorella. It's a Tortorella type team. I know one person that wouldn't be too happy with that though, and that would be I don't know what Atkinson thought about. I don't think Atkinson had a problem with Tortorella there. I think Atkinson's problem was that they had so many players that in Columbus that left. Like it was just one after another. And I think that's what everybody's problem was there. Everybody had that same problem. Like it was tough. It's tough to see guys like Panarin go and Dubois and Bobrovsky and Kekalainen's a great general manager, but one thing that I think he would even say he made a mistake at, and you can kind of see by who they're selecting now to play on their team, is you don't trade for guys who basically tell you they're not going to stay there. Panarin wasn't going to stay there, and he knew it. He made the trade hoping that they could do something in the time that Panarin was there. But it's just too hard on a team to always have that, I think, hanging over your head, that you got a guy in your team that really isn't truly bought in to being in that city with those people and all those sort of things like that. So, yeah. It's a mistake. Like you can't just pick up talent for talent's sake. We were just talking about. It's a mistake. So tonight's games. We'll get into tonight's games now. Update here. Canadiens versus the Colorado Avalanche. Colorado on a back-to-back. I mean, if the Canadiens were ever going to beat the Colorado Avalanche, this would be the game. Bruce Boudreau is going to Philly. I mean, it's worth the shot. I always like Bruce. He got teams into the playoffs all the time. God knows they need that. The problem with him is he always has a hanging over his head that he can't get teams to win in the playoffs. Washington, Anaheim, Minnesota. So maybe. I know he's out there wanting to be in the league again. I know he wants to be a coach again. Might be the guy. But the games tonight, do you think there's any chance? Like if there was ever a chance for Montreal to beat Colorado at home, Colorado on a back-to-back, Johansson just got ripped up last night. It doesn't appear that they have another goaltender they can put in the net. So you got to put this goaltender in that. It's not health. It's not a healthy situation, man. I think Colorado would probably be still win this game because Montreal doesn't have any faith in themselves at all. That they're a team that is kind of resigned to the idea that they're going to suck, I think. But who do you guys got? Do you guys think Montreal has a chance, or is it Colorado all day? Whoever just came in, we're going Colorado, Montreal. Does Montreal even have a shot? Do they even have a shot? I mean, I guess something has to happen all the time, but what was their last? Montreal has lost how many games right now? Montreal did beat Pittsburgh 6-3, where that was when DeSmith basically laid an egg. Couldn't beat Buffalo, got destroyed against Washington. Vancouver edged them out, but outplayed them considerably. Did pull one out against Nashville. I can't remember. I think Saros had a bad game. But really, at this point, Montreal only seems to be able to win if the opposition's goaltender has a bad night. And if there was a time for a goaltender to have a bad night, it's tonight. Johansson just got licked. Colorado was cursed, yeah. It seems like everything is trying to make them not win right now, that's for sure. Colorado. Yeah, Justus Anunen is their backup, and he was a third round pick in 2018. He's still really young. He's not a guy you want to play. So now you got Johansson, who doesn't look like he has all that much confidence in the world, and he also has the pressure that the backup probably can't play. So I'm still picking Colorado, but I think it could be a high-scoring game. It is a weird year. Do you think Montreal, if there was a spot where Montreal could beat Colorado, this is probably it. The only thing is McKinnon is back. They're going to be angry about the night before, you would think. They really just got to go out and outscore Montreal here. I think that you would have to think, I got to put that in. Over in the first period. Like, they are going to come out rocking and try to get Montreal back on their heels right away. They definitely don't want to get in a defensive posture with Montreal at this point. They can outgun them all day long. And Montreal is going to have to do the same thing and hope that they can, just put as many shots as possible on a goaltender that looks like he's shaky as heck right now. So I'm still going Colorado, but I'm not going heavy on Colorado because I'm really concerned about what Johansson is going to be tonight on a back-to-back after getting labeled by Toronto, not really showing to be a goaltender that plays with a lot of confidence to begin with. And now he has the added pressure that if he doesn't play well, they don't want to put that backup in. So, ouch. If there was a spot, this could be it for Montreal. So we got one person picking Colorado. I don't think anybody's really going to pick Montreal here, so we'll go on to the next game. Blues versus Lightning, and this is an interesting game. Stamkos is back in the lineup for this one. Vasilevsky in net. Elliott was in net last time. They're going to be going with their backup, the Blues are, but don't get too crazy about that because he's been playing very well. Binnington is on COVID protocol. That's why he's not playing. And Ville Husso. He's got a 1.76 and a 9.36. He's no slouch right now. Tampa Bay just barely lost to St. Louis in St. Louis the last game they played. And I believe Stammer wasn't in the lineup. So I'm leaning Tampa Bay here. After the St. Louis makes that trip back, I didn't even take that into consideration here. I got to lean Tampa Bay, though. What do you guys say? He was playing with a fever? Well, hopefully, if that fever's over, then. Do you think St. Louis can win tonight? They've been kind of comeback kids a little bit. But I got to go with Tampa. Gabriel Forche's in too, so they still they're without Braden Point. Man, tough game. Oh, Chernak is in too. Chernak is back in the lineup. Yeah, the defense alone. I just think defensively St. Louis is going to have a tough time with Tampa Bay tonight. With Chernak back, you're picking Tampa? All right, I think it's just you and me here now, so we'll go to the next game. Sabres versus Panthers, and Sabres are getting Middlestat back tonight. I don't know. I have a funny feeling about this game, but I can't go with the Sabres with Tokarski in, especially after they went out and got another goaltender now. So they're putting more. Well, they got Subban. I think they're putting him in the minors. Florida is injured, but they had that comeback win against Washington last game. They had that comeback win against Washington last game. And, I think I got to go with the Panthers, even with Middlestat back. But Buffalo is just won't give up that team. So if Florida is at all or thinking that, on a high and thinking they're great and taking Buffalo for granted even a little bit, they can burn you. Buffalo can burn you. They've shown it over and over again, and they got Middlestat back now. I think Middlestat probably is going to take a couple games to get back into it, though. Buffalo has had 2 days off after playing Seattle. Florida, the comeback game and they're at home. Yeah, that spot, I got to think Florida's going to win that game. You got to figure that they're going to win that game. It would be concerning if they undervalued Buffalo here. They haven't really shown that they are going to do that, but Lauren's got the Panthers. You got the Panthers, Danny? Oh. Yeah, you got Florida. Okay, we'll go to the next game then. Blackhawks versus Capitals. Capitals after that big letdown. They lose to Florida after being up 4-1 in the third. And they've had a lot of guys that are not normally in the NHL play a lot of games here. I think that kind of caught up to them now. Now they're playing a Chicago team who has been playing a heck of a lot better as of late, actually. They're playing better defensively than they were. And I do believe that their record has been okay. They lost to San Jose last game 2-0. The problem, they're focusing so much on defense, their scoring is dying a little bit, and I think that's going to be a problem against a Washington team that should be pretty angry that they let that game get away from them against Florida. And when you consider before that, they beat Carolina, they beat Florida, and they beat Montreal. This is Ovechkin to me. This team to me doesn't seem like a team that's going to get into a slump like that. I got to go with the Caps. I don't think it's going to be an easy out. Fleury's been playing really well. But the good thing about it is doing what happened in Florida, I think, should make it that they don't overlook Chicago here. Because, you got Laviolette's going to be telling them, like, see what happens when you let your guard down? We can't let our guard down against any team, no matter where we're at. And that's going to be fresh in the minds of these guys as they go up against a Chicago team where a team can let their guard down against. You've watched Middlestat since he was in high school. He's going to be a really good player. Like I think he's going to still got a ton of upside. It's too bad that he was mismanaged the way he was in Buffalo, but where are they playing? Chicago hasn't played in quite a few days, but I still got to go with the Capitals here. You're picking Chicago. I don't blame you, actually. You think Washington's going to be let down? Or you think that maybe that in that last game there, it was a sign that a lot of these young players that they're playing are starting to wear down a bit? That would be my concern for Washington right now. They're playing a lot of players right now that are not used to playing NHL games. And they could be beat down. They could be getting beat down. It's tough to play in the NHL. That's why they don't play kids a lot early in their career, because it can be pretty defeating to realize the level of intensity and abuse you're going to take to stay in the NHL until your body's ready for it. The good thing is the guys that they do have playing are big and they're strong. But if it was somebody other than Chicago, I might take Chicago here. But it's not a bad spot for them. I just think that Ovechkin and the gang are going to be angry after that loss. I think they're going to be pretty relentless in Chicago. I certainly hope so. Because we know that the Washington of old would have a tendency to overlook the spot. No doubt about it. This is a spot where they kind of would go through the motions, play down to their competition. But after that loss to Florida, I don't think so. But I definitely see what you mean, Danny Barlow. It's possible for sure. Next. Senators versus Hurricanes. Why are you taking Chicago, though? I'm putting words in your mouth, Danny. Why are you taking Chicago? (15-2) in the third. I know. They played not to lose, and they've got a bunch of young players there, and that's what young players tend to do. Young players tend to play not to lose. Do you think Washington's coming back to earth? Should be interesting to see. we'll keep an eye on that. We'll talk tomorrow about whether you're right about that. Could very well be the case, yeah. They could have been riding on such a high that now it's starting to come down to reality a bit. Hurricanes versus Senators, and it's got to be the Hurricanes. I know they're missing D-men, but who are they playing tonight? Where's Carolina? Turbine install Lawrence. Niederreiter, they got on the fourth line. Whoa, that's a solid. See, their depth is unreal on offense. So they're just going to have to be very cautious with Lejeune, Smith, and Chatfield. And Ian Cole's going to be playing a lot of minutes. Brady Shea. Who else is out of the lineup here? You got Pesci out. Bear won't be playing tonight. D'Angelo's out too. Wow. But I just can't see them beating Ottawa. I can't see them losing to Ottawa here, even with all that. Their forward depth is too strong. Yeah, but I mean, when you get down to the bottom lines for Ottawa, there's nothing really. And their defense is bad too. Even without the line, their defense is probably even right now. Goaltending, Forsberg is not a good goaltender. And when you got Formanton, Gaudette, and Sanford as your third line, that just ain't going to cut it. They're in and out of good hockey. They're sort of in and out of it right now. They're still putting it together. But I agree, they could beat Chicago tonight. Yeah, I got to go with the Canes. Ottawa's depth is not good enough to be able to go against them, I think, on this one. Yeah, I don't think so either. Islanders versus Sharks, and I don't know. I don't know what Islanders team we're going to see here. Denny, what do you think? Off for a long time. They got all their guys back. I don't know how much they haven't been able to practice that much. San Jose's playing pretty good hockey. They are putting Hill in tonight, though. That has me really off the game. The Islanders were having trouble scoring, but a good way to solve that is play against Hill. So, but I got to see the Islanders play for a bit before I really take them in any spot right now, I think. What do you think the Islanders will pull it out against San Jose? San Jose's been playing not too bad. Sharks win 4-1. Bill T, thanks for coming in, buddy. I think everybody's on the Sharks right now. But I maybe it's just me. I just don't know when the Islanders are going to become the Islanders. Yeah, those kind of like a team like the Islanders can turn things around like that. Uh, is it good or bad that they were off this time? I'm thinking they're going to be rusty. You would think San Jose should be pressing early, trying to pull up. I don't know who they haven't even. I don't think they've even said who's going to be in net. Yeah, no. It says Varlamov right now. Yeah, I think I got to go with San Jose. I think I got to go with San Jose too. Do you guys, anybody not have San Jose? I think I got to go with San Jose. He's just rusty, and you haven't played together for a while, and yeah, you got all their guys, more of their guys back. They don't have everybody back though. Dustin Tokarski out with COVID. Oh my! If Dell is in net, it is Florida all day then. Yep, placed on COVID protocol. Wow. Maybe they play Luukkonen. Are they going to go with Dell or Luukkonen? Oh my gosh. Wow, that's news right there. I don't think they have any faith in Dell. If Dell is in, yeah, you got to go Bob. You got to go Florida all day long. You taking the Sharks? Everybody seems to be on the Sharks. Florida 5-2. Sounds about right. I'm going to first get goaltender confirmation, but yeah, it might be pushing. And what's the total there? Oh, it's not against. Yeah, it's against Florida, right? 6. Yeah, I still think that's over. Got to go over. Craig Anderson is starting. That would change things if he's back. I didn't hear anything about him being back. But how good is he? Are they just throwing him in there because they have to? Like goalies Tokarski. Yeah, well, they're not that old. They just played a heck of a lot of hockey, and they don't have very much depth. I think that's what it is. Like, they don't have enough depth to play guys throughout the season to give guys a break, and it's just started to wear down on them right now. Craig Anderson. Week to week, I don't see Craig Anderson being in. Yeah, they traded Subban, and it was a minor deal. He's going right to the minors, and they're calling up Luukkonen because Tokarski's got on COVID protocol. Yeah, I agree. I don't think they need to use Parise on. I'm questioning Barry Trotz right now on some of the moves, and who am I to question him? But do you really need to play Parise on the top line? You are. Well, yeah, you're being a Minnesota guy. For sure, you're going to say that as well, right? So we got Sharks, Bruins versus Preds. And it's going to be the Kid against Saros. Nashville, was that night before last? Is Nashville on a back-to-back? Oh, shoot. Please tell me not. No. They trounced Columbus last game. Doesn't really say a lot because Merzlikins had a really bad game. Hence the reason why they called up that Tarasov or whatever. Boston outplayed the heck out of Detroit and lost. It's at home. I'm going to lean Nashville here just for the heck of it. I'm just not big on Boston right now. Really? Preds win again? Yeah, I got the Preds too. You think... I don't think you can ever fire Barry Trotz. It's a bad move. Nashville certainly regrets it, I would have to imagine. Lamoriello, maybe. I mean, I don't know what other direction you can go now, though. Like, what's another general manager going to do? They're going to rebuild now? I think they're just going to chalk this up as a year where you had a shortened summer. There's got to find a way to get more cap space, get some more players that can play if you have injuries, and go at it again. I think that's what's going to happen. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think he can play. I think that's the thing. Is have we ever saw Barry Trotz really do a different type of system, though? It just seems like he's everywhere he's gone, he's just kind of... You want to, Patrick? So I don't think he's going to be the GM of the Canadiens, though. Even if he was, I don't know. It seems to be that he's okay with being the second fiddle, because he would be. He's Parise's fallen apart. He had some serious injuries, and definitely it's catching up to him for sure. I was really surprised that the Islanders gave him a shot, and even more surprised. I wasn't surprised that they gave him a shot, but I'm very surprised at how much they're playing him. Pearlo is back for Montreal tonight. Well, that'll help. I like Pearlo. You got Nashville. Everybody's on Nashville too. That makes me feel good. So Pearlo is back for Montreal. Is that the Pearlo you're talking about? By the way, Manscaped, go check that out. Hit that link, guys. Search it on Google. Hit the link. Killer products. Buy something if you want, but take a look at it. I'm telling you, killer products. You're going to like it. Montreal Canadiens. Perreault is back. Yeah, Matthew Perreault is back. Well, that'll help out a lot. I really like Matthew Perreault. I think that'll help out an awful lot, actually. That changes things up more than people would think. It's just Chris Weidman's still in the lineup, and Jake Allen has played better as of late, but doesn't have a very good defense in front of him. Yeah, I think Bailey will be gone eventually, but I mean, they gave him up for free and nobody took him. Chara won't be gone. Chara will be there for the duration. No doubt about that. Oh, sorry, Lauren. What did you say about the question about Trotz? when Trotz used to be the coach for the Preds, they did play an aggressive forechecking game. Yeah, you're right. He got the best out of that team. The Islanders don't play I still say they're aggressive forechecking when they're doing it right. But when they're not playing well, they play back on their heels. That's what they do. And they've been playing back on their heels a lot. That was some of the best coaching I ever saw when he was in Nashville. That was amazing. Some of the teams he brought to the playoffs was incredible. But yeah, you bring up a good point. They didn't play back on their heels. They didn't play like a trap. People say that Barry is a trap guy. He's not really a trap guy. They don't sit back. He teaches anticipation and knowing what they're going to do before they do it, in the neutral zone especially, which in a lot of ways makes it look like a trap, but it's not really, because they're not sitting back and waiting. That's the problem, Bill, I think, is they don't really have kids to play. They're trying Bellows, but Bellows just can't seem to get it together. I do like that Salo defenseman that they have. But they really don't have much prospect depth in their lineup. I think they just he has a tired team. If you notice the last 2 years, the Islanders would usually have a bad record the last 2 to 3 weeks of the season. And then playoffs, they would wind it back up again. They don't have anybody. You're right, Lauren. I don't really think the Islanders have much in their backup. We used to have, remember all the Islanders fans we used to get in here, Lauren? Where did they all go? Intrepid, Sterling. We used to get all of the Islanders fans here all the time last year. Now, they are not in the chat anymore. I find that about Islanders fans. Other kinds of fans, they'll come no matter what. Their team doing well or whatever. Yeah, and they're not very creative. I was saying that for a while now. Barzal quite often ends up going in and trying to create things, but he has nobody to create with. They went to the Rangers. All right, let's go to the next game. What we got here? Devils Wild. I got to go Wild. The Devils are not as good as I thought they were going to be. They have their moments, but they're just nowhere near consistent enough yet. Elliot, how you doing, buddy? Hold that thought. I'll be right back, Elliot. First of all, in the chat, tell me, we're doing Minnesota Wild versus the Devils right now. Tell me what you think about that. Put your picks there. I got to go grab a water and a coffee here. All right, there we go. Funny, the Islanders were the second best team last year. Yeah, I know. But even then, two years ago, I was saying that if the Islanders make the playoffs, Barry Trotz should get Coach of the Year. As it turned out, I think the year I said that Tortorella didn't get it but should have got it, and ended up going to Cassidy, which I don't know why. I've been saying for a long time, just like I did with Minnesota, that the Islanders didn't have a roster that should be making the playoffs. They never did. That roster plays over its manpower. And I think Minnesota has a better team on paper than the Islanders. Do you think off season everything's going to hit the fan in Washington? Okay, of course I can read your last comment. I wouldn't want to do anything but, Bill. I won't be surprised if he sits down with Trotz and says, listen, agree to play younger guys. I'm not so sure about that. Lamoriello is a veteran guy. You look at what they did in New Jersey, you had to pound your way as a young player to get on that lineup. That's the reason why I went and got Parise and guys like that. I'm not so sure about that, Bill. Lamoriello's always been like that. That's the reason why he went and got Chara and he went and got Parise. Look at how much he needs the vets. He knows that he doesn't have guys. He doesn't have enough depth in that lineup. There's not enough depth in that organization. And they're right on the border of having to do something to get some youth in that lineup. They can't afford to trade their first this year. Or have they already traded it? Did they already trade it? I don't think so. I'm pretty sure they have their first this year. You guys didn't put Minnesota Wild or New Jersey Devils. What do you got? New York Islanders. No, they got their first, and they have a second this year. So, yeah, they lost Eberle. What else did they lose though? The Manscaped button is you gotta search it. You gotta search it. Just search Manscaped on Google. I should find a way to get a. Good. Thank you very much. I'll get the link for that. I'll put it in the bio so you don't have to search it like that. You got Devils 4-3. Wow. Bill. Holy smokes. Danny, look what Bill's doing to you here. Yeah, Talbot isn't my favorite number one goaltender in the league for sure. Talbot isn't my favorite number one goaltender in the league, that's for sure. Nick Leddy. Look what Nick Leddy's doing in Detroit. I don't think Nick Leddy was all that much of a loss. Jordan Eberle was, though. Because he was one of the few guys that could play, and that's the biggest problem. I think they're too predictable. The New York Islanders are too predictable. They don't have guys that can be creative in the offensive zone and put guys off there. Like Minnesota, you don't know what they're going to do. in the offensive zone. They make plays that's like, what the heck? Like, a lot of coaches wouldn't even allow them to make the plays that they do. And the Islanders, I'm sure Barry Trotz would do that if he had the guys to do it, but he doesn't. That's the problem. That would be a plus on some teams. I agree. I will have to agree to disagree. I wouldn't say loaded. I would say that they're getting the best. On paper, they're not loaded. I don't think they're loaded. But as a team game, they are amazing. Absolutely. No, they didn't trade Mayfield. Mayfield's been injured. Mayfield's been playing probably a little too high. Yeah, it's always been that way, though. Even when they had Letty and Everley, that team on paper, when you looked at it, it's like, this team shouldn't be making the playoffs in that division. You know, you got teams like Philadelphia crapping the bed all over the place. And Pittsburgh Penguins, they get by. They do that too, though, a lot. But they get by with a roster that probably shouldn't be making it either on defense and stuff like that. But overall, like the Carolinas and guys like that, they're overtaking them too, right? They're getting overtaken. We'll see what they're going to be like. Like, I can't see them coming back this year, but you never know with the Barry Trotz-led team. But we'll see what they'll be like after they get actual rest in the offseason and maybe get some more depth on the roster. They have no farm. No, that's the thing. They have nobody to bring up. It's the biggest problem they have on the island. They really probably, in most cases, would need to do a rebuild right now. You're picking Minnesota, of course. Yeah, of course you are. Next, Blue Jackets and Stars. And you got that kid in, Ottinger. Blue Jackets, the thing that scares me about this game is the Blue Jackets got blown out last game. It's kind of a game I want to watch how it starts. Because teams after a blowout usually play really well the next game. If they don't, it's a pretty big red flag of what's going to be for the future for them. Yeah, shots from everywhere crash the net. That's true. That's what the Islanders do. You saw we're very average. Stars win if they score first. That's a good one. Columbus, yeah, was terrible. And usually after a blowout like that, teams play a lot better the next game. Montreal Canadiens will beat Colorado tonight. I know. That's the thing I'm worried about. I just think it's possible that Colorado's going to be pretty angry. I don't know. I'm actually on the fence. If it was anybody but Montreal, I probably would not be taking Colorado after that game. But it's because it's Montreal. All Colorado has to do is play their swarm offense, and Montreal there's not much they can do about it. Like, they don't have the heart to beat them. If Colorado plays with the heart that we see them often play with in the offensive zone, they should outscore Montreal even with a goaltender like that. But if there's a spot for Montreal to beat Colorado, that's it. This is it, probably. Dude, like they could all be holding their breath that Johansson is going to hold them in. All I know is they can't go in there playing a game against Montreal where they're worried about how many goals their goaltender is going to get in. They're just going to have to outscore Montreal. They're just going to have to keep on playing as much as they possibly can in the offensive zone. They have to play like a super strong offensive possession game. The best defense is a good offense, right? Well, it looks like they're playing pawn hockey, Teddy Pearlo, that's for sure. Yeah, well, exactly. John especially, because if there's a blowout, it makes his job kind of boring. He was terrible. Absolutely terrible. I don't know. I almost think they should have made the trade for Subban and played Subban tonight. They should have picked up Subban or somebody. But I think for cap reasons, they're not able to, too. Like, it's scary. Kemper going down is a big problem. Against, like, if they play against Minnesota or somebody like that, Minnesota's going to destroy them. Or Anaheim or, pretty much anybody. I didn't see it all, but I saw the highlights, and it was ugly. It was really ugly. And he did that in Buffalo too. Like, I thought when they got Johansson from Buffalo, I thought what they were going to do was they were going to go after Allmark, and maybe they did try. You're picking Dallas? I'm leaning Dallas because I love Ottinger. I'm just a little bit. I'm not huge on it because I don't like taking teams that were blown out the night before. Larson seems like a really good coach. They bring up that Russian kid, which is basically ringing into his team. You're going to play defense tonight. You may lose, but you're not going to lose because of crappy defense. We're going to play solid defense tonight. So maybe an under there, but I don't know much about that Tarasov guy. All I know is his minors stats. His stats in the minors were not that great. Yeah, it was a good game. One that the Golden Knights should have had. I mean, they got Stolarz in net. Ducks are on a back-to-back. They've had rest. Leonard didn't play well. That's really what it came down to there. Leonard didn't play well. And finally, we got the Flames and the Kings. Peterson is going to be in for the Kings. It doesn't really seem to matter at this point who Calgary puts in because both players have incredible numbers. Markstrom is making a case for being a Vezina candidate. Computer has the Flames destroying Los Angeles tonight. I got to lean the Flames. LA has played, they lost 5-4 to Anaheim. They beat Ottawa. Everybody can beat Ottawa right now. And then, they lost to Toronto. They lost that game against Arizona. Carolina was dead tired and they couldn't beat them. I thought LA was going to be really good this year. So they've only won one game in 7. One game in 7. Are they due against a Calgary team that seems to be road warriors right now? Calgary just barely beat a Pittsburgh team that was playing them pretty tough. Lost that game against Winnipeg, and that was brutal. But they came back strong. Blew away Chicago, blew Boston away, Rangers away, Buffalo away, just blowing everybody away. I got to go with Calgary. A good offense is the best defense. If you can play in the other, yeah, for sure. If you can play in the other end of the ice, it's pretty hard for them to score. My dad was a coach, and he used to say that all the time. So what do we got here, guys? Calgary, right? Now, the more I talk about it, the more I got to go with Calgary. Peterson is in that. We were just talking about that Caps game against Chicago. I'm not like super bullish on that game. We were just talking about Calgary. I think we're all on Calgary tonight. First game on the road, LA. What's LA done the last little while? They haven't played well, I know that. Yeah, Calgary's had 2 days off after beating Pittsburgh. Totally well rested. The only chance here is they're overlooking the game for Anaheim. Oh, that's probably why they're putting Peterson in. I wonder if Vladar will be in tonight because they're going to play Markstrom against... Vladar might be in, but even at that, Vladar has played really well. Because Calgary's on a back-to-back. They got Anaheim the next night. And LA, I think LA's been at home. Yeah, they played Anaheim. They played Calgary. This is their last game of their homestand, and then they're off to Edmonton after that. But I get the feeling that there's a letdown energy in LA. They really thought they were going to be better than they were. And it's just not working out for them. A lot of underachieving. I think they thought their young players were going to be a lot better than they were. Yeah, I got to go with the Flames as well. So we got all the games in. Let's take a look at, is there anything here that... Oh, Jack Eichel resumes skating, everybody. If you doubted Jack Eichel's suggested 3-month recovery timeline after this artificial disc replacement surgery, perhaps you should think again. You're trading one headache for another there, Bill T. Right now, the way Dylan Strome's attitude has been in Chicago, I think if I'm Chicago, I take that deal. Yeah, or does he ever have them playing? Anyways, I'll finish talking about that. In the Vegas Golden Knights center has been seen back on the ice today. You said that he's been skating for a while in North Carolina. What appears to be an extreme ice center outside of Charlotte. 3 weeks after the knife. Obviously, there's still a long way to go, but seeing him back skating has to be encouraging for the Golden Knights, who took a huge chance when they acquired Eichel last month. The last time Eichel had played injury-free season, he racked up 36 goals and 78 points. Unfortunately, that was with the COVID-shortened season. Yeah, that team is going to be, I mean, if he can get back to where he can be, boy, oh boy. Yeah, well, they've been saying all along, the doctor said that it's a 3-month recovery time for that surgery. And that was part of the reason why he wanted to do that surgery. It's a shorter recovery time. Apparently, there's less chance you'll need another surgery. Like, the thing is, it's a new type of surgery that they're doing. And a lot of insurance companies don't have it in their list. So they don't know. And I think that was the biggest problem with the Sabres, is that they have an insurance package in a company that's saying, we can't back that because we have no background to see how that surgery is going to be and all that kind of stuff like that. But his doctors were saying it was only going to be a 3-month recovery time. So well, how could he be blamed? I mean, I'm sure that he didn't want to trade that. That'd be stupid. If they blame him for trading him, what'll happen if he comes back 100%? The rest of the league is going to be kicking themselves. They didn't do more to get him. And I think according to the doctors, they swear up and down he's going to come back and be better than he has been the last couple of years. He's going to come back in really good strength. In 3 months, they've been saying it all along. And of course, Vegas being Vegas, they took a gamble on him, to use a bad pun. So, yeah, they're saying he looks like he's on that 3-month timeline. And if that's the case, Vegas is going to be something else. Man, oh man. You think Vegas, Stone, and Pacioretty, and then you got the Smith, Marchessault, and Carlson line, the defense that they already have, man, that team's going to be solid. Whoa. That is going to be one bugger of a team to beat if he comes back. Good news for you. What's that, Devondre? Pagula, yeah, well, it's Kim Pagula. What's the news, Devondre? Thanks for coming in, by the way. A little Pearlo dance for you. I'm staying long just because you showed up, Devondre. Oh, you won an award for beer sales in the playoffs? Is that what you're saying, Devondre? Oh, beer sales in the... because... Oh, I see what you mean. You probably get grats and stuff like that. Yeah, no problems. I haven't seen you in a while, so I'll stick around here a little longer. But just imagine if Edmonton picks up some D, Vegas and the Oilers in the playoffs. If they pick up D, if Koskinen keeps on playing like he's playing, or they get Smith or somebody better, that series could be like one of the series for the ages. Colorado, Vegas, Oilers. Now we're talking the type of hockey that I like to see. As much as I love Barry Trotz, I'm not rooting for an Islanders type game to win a cup. I'm rooting for the Colorados, Oilers, Vegas. Vegas plays a very fast, strong defensive game. super aggressive. I love it. I love Vegas's game. And they got Eichel there, full strength, playing on that line. My gosh. Going against McDavid and Draisaitl and everybody there. That would be amazing. Oh, he's going to the minors for sure. There's nobody going to pick him up, that contract up. No. I did a video on that just recently too. So if you want to check that out, but, yeah, he's definitely going to the minors, but he's going there with a really good attitude, actually. It's kind of too early to tell if it's just a makeshift attitude for now. He's got a lot to prove. It's going to take a while, but if he's really, I think he's going to crush the AHL, and then they're going to have a problem because, 7 or maybe 5 or 6 games into it, if Kane is back to how good Kane is, he'll be scoring so many goals in the AHL. The other teams will be going, this isn't even fair. This is not fair to have Kane in here. You got to do something here. You watch, man. He'll be scoring he is way, 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 way too good. When you think about all the late nights and everything he was doing apparently in San Jose, he was still a 30-goal scorer. A 30-goal scorer in the NHL playing in the AHL is going to be, I don't agree with that. Being a guy who's seen rehab, you got an addiction problem. There's generally some deep stuff in there that has to be taken care of. And going to rehab like he did, there's a very good chance he took care of that stuff. I don't think he'll always be that way. I'm not saying maybe he will, but I don't think it's for sure, but that he will be. How many times have you, I don't know if you guys have seen it, haven't you seen transformations of people that have gone through life changes like that? I've seen people go through rehab for all kinds of stuff, and you'd never even recognize who they were outside of what I were. If you would have known me 8 to 9 years ago, oh boy, I can't talk down to anybody. If you would have known me 8, 9 years ago, man, wouldn't have been. So it can happen. It can happen. He's going there with the right attitude so far. I know I'm rooting for him. I'm rooting for him for sure. I didn't even realize I had all that background stuff there. What's going on there? I had that lighting issue. I didn't even look up and see that. The light coming in there. Like I said, I've seen worse. Just one sec. For the end of my thing, I'm actually going to have that light taken care of. Anyways, Byram's out. Wow. Again. So, continuing on with what I was saying there, if a person has a gambling problem, they absolutely hate themselves. They hate the fact that they can't stop doing what they're doing. It still didn't go. Where is that coming from? I thought I fixed it, but I guess not. They absolutely hate the fact that they can't stop doing what they're doing. They despise it. So, and I got a free pick there, buddy. I got a free pick I just put up. Go check out my channel, Zephyr. It's I'm 10-3 on free picks, so I can't say it's a lock, but and these guys can help you out a little bit there too. Oh shoot, that's horrible. But yeah, transformations happen like that, and I think Kane's the kind of guy that could definitely happen to, no doubt about it. Yeah, when a person's going through what he's going through with addiction and stuff, you absolutely hate yourself, and it comes out and spills on everybody. And you don't understand why you are the way you are. He doesn't understand why he is the way he is. He goes to bed every night going, "Why am I such an idiot?" And it just goes and goes and goes and goes. And yeah, you treat people like crap. You're miserable. Yeah, you don't do the things you're supposed to do. It's just a... Yeah, well, he had a gambling problem. There's no doubt about it. He had a gambling problem, a real bad one. And having a gambling problem stems from something in further than just that. Like it's a deep thing. Yeah. Anyways, guys, man, I got most people I've had here all day and I got to go. But I got to get going. I'll see you guys tomorrow, this time, Friday. It's Friday. So we'll be talking about all the games for Friday, Saturday, all the happenings and all that stuff like that. Manscaped, go check it out. Yes, I got to get a link and put it in the comment section or in the... I'll do that. I don't know why I didn't do that already. But check it out. Go there, hit the link. You get Steel Flyers or Pearlo Dance, and you get 20% off of everything. When we get 10 people to hit that link, they become our sponsors, and we have a sponsor. And that's a killer thing. Have a great day, everybody. Okay, bye.